know that it's it's one of the first long weekend that comes, but you guys always find time to come. And I can tell you for past 5 6 years of attendance, it's gonna be great. It's great experience. We have some really great speakers from India, and one of them I have heard before. So I promise you, you are going to love it. It's going to be, if you think the long days are going to tire you, not happening, because you will enjoy every second of it. So make the best of it. And if there is anything else you have, we have all of our 8 Chicago volunteers. They are right here. Not all of them, but most of them. I do want to actually point one thing about some of these folks. Chandra Babu Desu, he co-founded Boston chapter, and very humble man. Never ever. He doesn't show off so much, so people may not have heard of him as much, but he's behind so many things. And for 8 Chicago, he has been the primary pillar who has been, maybe you also co-founded 8 Chicago? Or no? Okay, so but he has been there forever. Thank you. I asked them to write down on this topic. um, the name that most of you know, Namrata. She, if not for her, I don't know how we would have managed this. She came here thanks to DC chapter, if they had, when they had her, that she had to come here and take care of us. So yes, so you know her. She's been like the force behind so many chapters, and thanks to her, really really big thanks. She managed pretty much everything, all communication, and she did an awesome job. So I'm sure almost all of you know her. But you're not gonna ask too much of her anymore. We are a bunch of people here, so you have a lot more help. Let me also call out some of the new folks who have been. Well, we have Kamla Babu, again, very humble person, but she has done so many things for us. Uh, from Milan, we have done some of our local dance programs. She is behind. She is always there, so dependable and the wise one in our group. She always keep us in check. Uh, so Kamla Babu, she joined till 2013. Some of the and we have another one who just showed up. Kiran is a very talented one that we found, and I'm thankful that he's here. Uh, and among the other new ones, we have Beena. One thing about Beena, I must say that she just got introduced maybe last year. It's not even a year. And not only she visited one of our projects, in fact, two of our projects, she also personally donated to one of them. And she brought so many, so much of insight from those projects back to us. So we do value these kind of, we volunteers do so many things, but this aspect of us I truly appreciate about Beena, who took time and always is on top of our projects here. Biswajit, I think where did you come from? Sorry, he just joined. So, but for yes, yes, we have two Biswajit. If you have seen all of that, this is our Biswajit of Chicago. For this conference, pretty much all of these folks have taken care of from every minutest of the details. Another one that I'm going to call out, he just came and he just ran with this. Sham, he came from India. He used to volunteer for Eureka over there, but he just came, and if you are looking forward to our Sunday excursion, he's the one who took care of it. So I would like you all to just give them an applause because they're doing a great job.
And also a big round of applause for our president, and we also
Thank you very much. Oh, after picture, I have some more things to say.
I think the folks at home can't see them. on the live, the video.
Oh, so we can just turn it.
Technology rules, huh?
Okay, all smiles. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I forgot one person, though he's not here, but he's omnipresent. Can someone guess? He's just entering the room. He says, I am the honorary, Chicago volunteer. I say, all right, fine. So he was here for a couple of months, and I think he just infused so much of energy even in that short time. But always, anything that we need, especially me, he is on like my speed dial. And Nagadar, he is like everywhere. He does everything. But for 8 Chicago Chapter 2, I wanted to definitely call out his name because from, any venue arrangement, payments, and today you'll see getting stuff for the conference, he has helped so much. And there's a committee that we had, I may not remember each and every one, so please pardon me, but I just wanted to call out their names, including some of the folks here like Sharat and, pardon me, I don't have everyone's name, but this committee also worked really tirelessly to get us where we are today here. And I'm so happy that we are doing it in Midwest. I don't think we have done anything around East Coast or Midwest in a very long time. So it's an honor to actually do it in this area. And that also helps some of the nearby chapters over here. I'm sure it's going to help everyone in the capacity building, inspiring volunteers, to volunteer more. Now, without wasting any more time, we wanted to give a very short presentation on how to use Pigeonhole, because that's going to be our way of streaming videos. So let me just hand it over to him. And thank you again for coming this weekend.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, just put this away so you don't have to. Unless you need it for the video for YouTube, you need it. No, that'll fix it. So I'll use my stage voice. Anyway, good morning.
You are like
I'll project. Yeah, good. Anyway, good morning. Namaste, welcome. Sat Sri Akal, everybody. Salam alaikum. So we are starting off with this interactive tool, Pigeonhole. You've been to some conferences. It's very helpful, interactive tool. Some benefits of it that we've seen where I work is that it really helps make it much more exciting, interactive, and that gets everybody more involved. So as we said, what it can do is you can set up polls, you can set up surveys, so you can have even the questions managed better, for the entire proceedings. And we've got lucky. This Pigeonhole is quite expensive. Given it to us for free. So I do want to acknowledge Pigeonhole for enabling the use for us for free. So some of the benefits very quickly is that, as I said, it's interactive. And many of us are introverted. We may not want to be vocal, right? Some of us are vocal. And so this way it enables people to put in questions. They can type in questions, for example, participate. So this enables more participation by people who may not be necessarily vocal. Sometimes, as you've seen in past conferences, the questions can be as long as the answers. People get up and go on and on and on. So this way, the kind of Twitter 140 characters is only so much you can type probably, but then that won't stop you from putting in a lot of content. The other thing also is that enables remote participation. So people can ask questions remotely, just as being here. And then the other thing it does is you'll see the list of all the questions that have come up, for example, and others get to vote. So then we kind of democratize the process, right? Rather than one question, whoever's asked it first, it enables the questions that have the most interest among the larger group to pop up, and you can see that. I mean, it's up to the speaker, for example, to say, I might want to address this anyway, but at least you're having a process where there's more democratization of the discussion. Yeah. And the last thing is it also helps us with documentation. I know people like Rashim, let's make sure we get documentation from the conference. And this enables all the questions, and we get a lot of analytics information, which is helpful in tracking. The challenges are that you do need technology to make it work. And as you know, technology, when it works really well. Sometimes it can be a challenge. But everybody needs to either have a laptop or a phone. And now we can help if there are people who don't have one. You know, if there are people sitting by you, and some of us have both our laptop and phone. So just contact one of us, Sarath or me, and we can help in case somebody doesn't have their laptop or a smartphone. Yeah. So we do want to make sure everybody can participate. Yeah. And then of course, the questions do have to be typed. So again, if you need help putting the questions in, somebody near you or one of us can help. Next slide, please. And then, Sarath?
Yeah, just go ahead. So it's very simple. All you need to do is go to in your mobile or a laptop, go to the browser and type in pigeonhole.at. So this is the URL.
Can we all do it now, if you can, please, so that way you can start. Yeah, get it first. Wi-Fi is Bongo, lowercase, and it's a Windows Garden is the particular site server. So everybody goes to pigeonhole.at.
And then type in the password 8conf17.
There may be a tutorial.
Yeah, some like either Mac or Apple phones, no. Just you can use it as an anonymous user, or you can put in your name as the user.
So let me build on that. It doesn't have to be case independent. You can put either lowercase, it'll take it. And the other thing is, if you put your name, so if you ask a question, your name will pop up. So you don't have to put in the name. It's not you.
And in some of the, say Mac, it might show you a small pop-up on how you can ask the question. You can just hit next, and the actual page. So I can show you a demo right here.
Anybody need help with this? Because you want to make sure. So far, so good, very good.
So all you do is pigeonhole.hat, and then type in that's it, and then you will see all the sessions, and some of them might be like quiz and poll questions, which will be asked during the GBM session. So those are also added. You can go to it during the GBM session. For now, you can enter the GBM enter question session. Yeah, so this is the one that I was mentioning. You can hit next and OK. So you can type in any question you want.
So at any point, for example, for a session, you can start typing questions as we go along, and then we'll address them later on. It'll all be there stored.
That's it.
Yeah. So if you had any question, it's an example. You put that in right now. It's going to pop up. We have all the questions, and so we're going to start the poll right now. So just to have fun and to get us all warmed up, we're going to start one poll. Okay, go ahead.
Are you done?
We'll take a minute and finish this, or you want to make an answer?
Yeah, no, I'll make an answer.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll start the poll. Yes. So can you go to the poll, and it will ask you a question, which should be what amount of funds did we raise in 2016? Can you guess, please? There are multiple choices there.
Okay, go to the quiz.
Quiz, please.
Quiz.
And here are the choices. Can you start? So anyway, you can think about it. These are your multiple choices.
No, we're not allowed to answer.
Yeah, I think it's got to start. Can you start?
This is anonymous kind of thing.
I'm able to select. Right? So this is. I'm also doing it live here. So if you go to the site and then cast your vote for the quiz.
Go ahead. Let me pick it.
Yeah, select the quiz, not the other questions.
Okay.
Go to the quiz, please. Just the quiz right now.
Other questions are for Naga. So
Yeah.
So can you select one there, Sharat? Or one of them just for fun. Let's say 5 million. Is it letting you choose it? There you go. And can you go live now? So now we're going to see live what people are actually choosing. Okay. So for example, so can you all start? Yeah, there you go. It's a fun part of it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
all live, you're seeing all your data coming in.
But in this, we can do, like one person can do multiple votes.
No, we can set it where you can get only one vote from one device.
Yeah.
Just for this session, for fun, we made it like that. For the other ones, we're not going to make it. We'll only show it at the end. But we have the option to moderate that. Good point. We didn't want to influence others. But in this case, just for fun, we thought, let's see if we have that. Yeah.
Hey guys, while you are doing this, I just have a quick announcement. We have kids sign up outside. We need some volunteers who can help us with that. Need not be all moms, prefer like Didis and Bhaias. But if you guys like to help out with that, just dad, uncle,
Everybody.
females, but you know, okay. Here's the point. Point is that you have a sign up sheet. If you can help out, that would be nice. Thank you. And the next one is GBM, right?
Yeah. So
So-
before you go on, any questions about pigeonholes? We want to make sure everybody is safe. Okay, everybody?
Sri, you want to answer that question?
Okay. Does this mean we can't verbally ask questions? We'd like to not have that, but if it's like necessary, we could. It's an experiment, by the way. We want to see how this works. The idea is to democratize everything. But if it's so difficult for any reason for somebody or something, we can be flexible. But we'd like to try this. Can we try it as an experiment and see if it works? Any more questions? So these are the choices. Anybody else want to vote? We're done. And the right answer is the one that most people chose. It is 2 million. It's 2.02 million. So, right, Naka?
Yes.
So that is the correct answer. Alright, thank you. So we
How
start.
many people voted?
He has all the analytics on there.
I would have given a different trial question.
Yeah, we'll show you. It is 2 million.
So see, after you told it started increasing.
That's the thing about it. Yeah, we have it all stored, and we'll talk about more of the funds raised. I'm the fundraising coordinator, so we'll talk more about it during the session as well. In fact, how we can raise more funds to support projects. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, never. I'll let you give the chance to count as many times as you want to count that million. But I would love to see the 5 million come up.
And there are some people very optimistic, so good to see that.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody here. 115 registrants. If not, we need to get them in. So it's fun to be back again at the AID conference, and glad that all of you made it. And we'll try to have a fun next. And to get that started, we are going to kickstart with where we are today, and also share what are some of our thoughts for future. And all of us can together take this journey forward. And to that effect, Dr. Bhagat, who is our president of AID, he is kind of missing this event, and he sent a brief message, especially pointing out that this is the 20th year when the first AID conference started. In 1997, apparently, was the first all-chapter conference, and that is when the AID constitution was also adopted. So 20 years since then. And it was also in the year 1997, on August 15th, 50th anniversary of India's independence. And at that candle vigil, all of them took a pledge of serving and doing more rather than just freedom, to make that freedom more meaningful. And that also was the beginning of the 8 Jeevan Saathi program, because I believe Balaji Sampath decided and had taken the oath, and then he mentioned that he was going to return back to India and start working full time, and that was the beginning of 8 Jeevan Saathi. So that's the 20. Okay, well, we've been passed on the history. Thanks for correcting it, Ravi. So this is 20 years, and Dr. Bhagat wanted to share this message, and he said, over the 20 years, AID and the collaborators in India have indeed made a lot of progress on a variety of fronts, which is education, health, women's empowerment, agriculture, and employment. And he says, like, we can be justly proud that we have done so much, but we are humbled that we have done no more. And God bless, and hoping that it will give all of us more strength to aid to take greater heights. And he concludes with Hum Sab Ek Hain. Can all of you say it, please? Hum Sab. Hum Sab. Hum Sab. And so I would like to quickly recap some of our major achievements last year. It was the 8th.
Do you want to start the presentation? Or?
Oh, yes, yes. I handed it off to Sharad.
So let me know that I have started.
Just like the role. Just like the So last year we celebrated AID 25th year, and so we are continuing. And some of the major achievements for the past was that with a lot of effort from the Treasury project team and the DCs, we were able to get things in track. And for the first time, we filed our taxes after finishing our audit. And that enabled us to get back the 4-star Charity Navigator rating, which was off for about 3 years, and a lot of volunteers and donors were concerned about it. And so we are glad that we were able to do that. And I do have to make a special mention for some of the volunteers who really put in a lot of time and effort. Manish from Morgantown, Sumulata, who was a former AID Clemson volunteer, Shamla from the projects team, Dushyant, Treasury, Arvinda, and Nirvi. They all helped put in a lot of efforts to get this audit done timely, and we had to cover a lot of work in the background. And I hope we will continue to do that. So one thing that we would like to stress that, I mean, as volunteers, our time is really hard. If we all put our time properly and get some of these things done in a timely manner, it becomes very easy, and we can achieve these goals. I mean, it's not tough to do that. But only when we lag behind, it takes more time to cover up, and it takes more time to get caught up and finish all of this. So I would really request all of you to go back to your chapters and your teams to bring this up as a very important item, that please do your treasury work very regularly, whether it is filing for volunteer reimbursements or for your project disbursement. Please do it in a timely manner, especially checks. We have noted, even as of last month, one chapter reported that they sat on a $11,000 or $10,000 check for over 3 months, and automatically the check lapses. Like, you cannot be sitting with the check for more than a month. So make sure that all of your treasurers are depositing the checks within the month that they are receiving it. That makes all of our life easy. We don't have to go back to the donor telling them, hey, sorry, we missed it. Could you please reissue a check? So all those things should be avoided. So the next big achievement last year was Revati's visit. Revati was here for about 2 months. I mean, she really connected very well with a lot of us and a lot of aid volunteers. I mean, she was a big source of inspiration. About 22 chapters. 22 chapters hosted her. I mean, this was the first time in AIDS history, like almost all the functional chapters, barring 2 or 3, were able to host her. And in those 45 to 60 days that she was traveling here, she gave more than 35 or 40 presentations at various places. And not just connecting with aid and aid supporters, we were also able to plug in with the Tamil community, as well as agriculture researchers and institutes here. And quite a few people came forward to support the initiative. So it was really good. And I think a special shout out to Arun Gopalan, Vidya Palniswaman and Sudhir Shukla. They really made a lot of effort in trying to make this trip very successful. It was a very, very well coordinated visit. As you can think, like 25 to 30 cities covered in 60 days with so many public events. So with that, a couple more. We have our new website launched thanks to the website team, and hope they take the efforts forward and make it fully functional and current as possible. Thanks to our IT team, they have totally revamped the IT infrastructure. A lot of our chapter websites and all the main websites are on AWS, the Amazon Web Services, and special mention to Arun and Sharad. They really did an awesome job in turning things around. And right now, I think their response rate is almost within 24 to 48 hours. So good job to the IT team. If not, Sharad, we are putting you on a 24-hour response time. Similarly, the aid projects team, Sujeta and team coordinated very well, and along with the CVC team, with Kirtana, Shiva and others, come up with a very good volunteer portal and handbook, which will help you to go through adopting all the processes that we are using for projects currently. And very soon we'll also have the treasury processes very nicely laid out, and the volunteer handbook. And in fact, that would be the basis of our nuts and bolts presentation this year. For that session, as we will go into more details of our processes. Likewise, thanks to our grants team, Somnath and team wrote about 4 or 5 grants, and they were successful in getting 3 of them. We raised about 60K from the grant. So thanks a lot to the grant writing team. I don't remember all the names, but I know Somnath was coordinating the effort. Likewise, we've seen the past years with our direct connection and going to our donors and sharing the impact stories, we were able to convince our donors to step forward in a bigger way. And when we present a specific project and show them the impact, the donors are ready and willing to cooperate and work with us. So we've seen these examples in Boston, in Seattle, in RTP area, in DC, in Bay Area, so a lot of places. So it's really important time out to prepare a good presentation of their projects, document the impact, and share it with the donors, and try doing it more one-on-one, because especially people, they will have little time. But if you approach them with the right frame of mind and show them the impact, they are willing to step forward and support. And so we have several such examples, and we are seeing there's a growth in that trend. And I thought I'd share some of these stories so all of us can emulate in our local communities, in our local chapters as well. So definitely make the effort to your donors more one-on-one and share the stories of the different projects that you support. You might be surprised that they'll step forward to support it, say a 3-year term, a 5-year or 10-year term. So that's another thing that we would like to bring that forward. So we already did this pigeonhole exercise, so we'll move forward. So that was supposed to be the prelude for our audited, unaudited financials. So here's a quick sum. Next slide.
One more.
Next slide. Here's a quick summary of our unaudited financials. So we raised, our total revenue was 2.1 million, of which the unrestricted donations was 1.25 million, which is about 62% of the total funds raised. 0.8 million, 38%. This is for the first time in our history. Our total expenses actually have been more than what we have raised. It's about 2.29 million. Our programmatic expenses, that is for projects and project-related expenses, was 2.08, that is 91%. And our fundraising, this is the direct expenses involved with events, is about 130K, which is 0.13 million, 6%. And our admin cost was about 3%. So that's a pretty awesome statistic to share. And if you combine even the fundraising and admin expenses, 10%. So all our projects, we are spending more than 90% of our funds. In fact, much higher goes to the projects.
I think the fundraising expense, the way you calculated it, may not be that. Because usually it's much less than that. So I think you use a different system which is last.
We'll look into that. Okay, so that was a quick summary of the funds raised. So here's the next question for you, Pigeonhole, if we can start that question. So how much funds did we disburse for projects in the year 2016? So let's see what you all think. Real-time voting. Good. So okay. So we did disburse about 2 million for our projects last year. And here's the I just said we did 2 million. Somebody is pressing 1.6. Sharath, let's go to the next. This is also to keep you all on your toes. We want to see whether you are really with us here. Slides, not the question.
You want the slides?
Yeah. So we did disburse about 2 million. So here's a trend of our funds raised versus funds disbursed. If you see in 2012 to 2016, we are between 1.5 to 2 million, and except for the year 2014, because of the Uttarakhand flood relief and the Hudud, cyclone Hudud, we did raise a lot more in the restricted funds there. But otherwise, our general unrestricted funds have been quite stable. So that's where I think we all should get out of our comfort zone, try to push ourselves to get to the next million on unrestricted. And here's a breakup. Next slide. So the dashed lines are the breakup between the unrestricted funds raised versus the restricted. And you see like this blip there because of the relief and rehab funds that we raised. 2014 is higher. So state-wise, our next slide. So here's the distribution of the projects that we supported across the different states last year, and you can clearly see some of the regular states like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal. They have been where the maximum number of projects have been. We are picking up a little bit in Jharkhand and Orissa. but I think we have much more to go. And also Northeast, we did debut last year, but I think it does not show up here because with the processes involved in auditing the NGO and checking out and ensuring all the documentation, the actual funds went out 20. But we did support the Northeast. Yes, Govind.
It's not a debut.
I mean,
We have
yeah,
supported earlier, but maybe not as much in the recent.
sure, wrong word. Yeah. Yes, Govind.
What, we have Nepal as part of our.
No, so, okay, Nepal is not our state, but when Nepal earthquake happened, a lot of people donated to us. So we did partner with an organization. And so that's why Nepal shows up there. Yeah. So here's the comparison of how the chapters did between the funds raised. The blue bars are the funds raised, and the red bars are the funds disbursed. And so the various chapters are here, and again, a nice pattern in this diagram, if you can notice. Can anybody tell which chapter raised the maximum amount of funds and which chapter disbursed the most? So that's the I mean, that's the strength of the chapters there. They've been really doing good. I think both Bay Area, Boston, and Seattle funded about 13 to 15 projects past year. Likewise, I'm very happy to see DC Metro, LA, Duke RTP are doing decently well. So is Austin, but Austin was doing much better in previous years. So we need to work with Austin chapter and try to help them keep the momentum. And Dallas chapter was really wonderful, though the numbers don't show up here as strong, but they have really revived. And so next year we'll see a much longer bar for Dallas chapters. Right, Dallas? Dallas went out? So next slide.
You have to tell me you should not change there.
So here's a trend analysis of what are the various issues that we have been funding, or especially notable as we see agriculture, health, education. They have been the key components there, and community empowerment. Those are the 4 areas where most of our projects are. Also, like, there's always a challenge on how do you classify them, because sometimes it is you are working with women's self-help groups, whereas you are actually talking to them about healthcare as well as livelihood and empowerment issues. So some of these are intertwined. It's not black and white that you can put in some category, but it's stuck close to what we all feel the project is. Good to see that health, we are decently doing fine, and community empowerment. And over the years, I think the past 5 years, I don't know if we can make much of agriculture. It seems to be, I mean, very slight growth. No, actually it's a reverse case. Yeah, it is. It's going up. Next slide. Next slide. So, no, sorry. So, just to summarize on the project front, we have disbursed about unrestricted funds, about 1.2 million, which is basically what most of the chapters account for. And the amount we have disbursed from restricted is about 850K, of which notable are the Tamil Nadu flood relief work through Aid India, SODIUS, and Inspire. About 325K was disbursed last year, and the Eureka program utilized about 450K last year. The total projects that we supported in 2016 is 96, partners we have worked is about 78 of them. If you look the two red numbers there, the presence in states. Previous year in 2015, we had projects across 24 states. But last year, it got down to only 17 states. Likewise, the number of chapters that were approving funds in 2015, about 34 chapters actively approved funds for different projects. 29. So we need to figure out where the 5 chapters missed, what happened there. So that's something for us to look up. And so the chapters Boston, Bay Area, and Seattle, they all have approved 16 projects each. Seattle did 13. And then DC Metro, NCRTP, and Portland did about 7 projects each. So it's actually a good achievement for us to feel proud of. At least this was the first time that we were able to send about $2 million supporting our project for the first time. So it's a major achievement for all of us. So hopefully we'll keep up and keep it growing. So with that, I would like to give a quick update about the various leadership teams, starting with the board of directors. We have a new board of director. Asti has accepted, and she's our new board of director. Asti. So you can come front. So here's Asti. So here's Asti. Yeah, the light background. So for those of you, don't know about or are hearing for the first time about the AID board of directors, it comprises of 3 to 7 members. Permanent member currently is Dr. Mohan Bhagat. He is our president. The continuing members are Nigaman Sridhar, Nirvik Bhattacharya, Rashim Singh, and myself, Naga. And then we are also exploring newer members. So if you have any suggestions, please do send a note. We are always looking for newer members to join and share the load. Coming to the AID executive board, thanks to the election commissioners, the election team that very diligently followed up with all the chapters, gathered the voters list and conducted elections. And thanks to all the volunteers who nominated and also all the volunteers who stepped forward to take up these roles. We have to take extra load on when we are coming up, stepping forward. So it's commendable that folks step forward. And the results were recently declared. Preeti Narasimhan from Seattle was elected as the EB coordinator for projects. We have Vikas here in the team from Ann Arbor. Vikas, can come to the front, please. Vikas from Ann Arbor. We also have Shubha from DC Metro chapter. She's not here. Then we have Archana. Archana, who's been elected as the ongoing, continuing donor relations squad. Then we also have Amit Ghosh, who stepped forward from Seattle to take up the publication squad role. Likewise, we would like to thank all of our outgoing members, Arvind Natarajan for projects, for campaign and Sonali from Sonali Tamankar, who was with the publication team. And our current team members are Kirtana, Amruta, Sharad. People know, so they'll come and ask you questions. Amruta, Sharad, Sri Murli for fundraising, Sujata for projects. So people from all the different chapters, bug them for the next 2 days. They are here. This is a good time to catch hold of the EB boards and try to get some things going. Coming to legal status, we would like to stress upon a couple of points. One is that as an organization, we are required to do our tax filing, which is the Form 990. And every year we are required to do it either by May 15th or by automatic extension by August 15th. And to accomplish this feat, we need a lot of volunteers to help on the aid-wide treasury and projects team. So please step forward if you're interested in helping. That way you're also learning about tax filing, and also you learn about some of the nuances of doing this. Similarly, we have to file our taxes with the Maryland County because that is where we are registered. And along with that, for about 30 plus states out of the 50 states in the US, we need to, and that can happen only if we have already filed our tax returns and have completed our audit. Without both of them, most of the states don't accept, and without being current in the state, we actually cannot continue operating as an organization in those states. So it's really key that all of us put in concerted efforts to help in getting these requirements satisfied. Likewise, there's always a confusion when folks come up with minutes and notes for the various meetings. And one thing we would like to stress that the minutes always have the resolutions, and they have to be taken vote either in CSH or you are doing a telephone conference call. You should be doing, or even at times we allow e-voting via email. So it's very important, but that's the only thing that goes out in public domain approval, whereas the notes are usually for internal purposes. So please make sure that whatever your discussions that you're documenting, keep it between your volunteer team and within aid circles. Make sure that you're not putting them up on public domains. Okay. So those are some of the basic things to give you a picture of where we are and what we have done so far the past year. What are we looking ahead? What's our plan ahead? And the biggest challenge when we started discussing this with amongst the executive board and all the central aid-wide teams and the BOD, all of us figured, and that a lot of us do reach out to chapters and talk to them. Everywhere, the key challenge all of us face is volunteers. So any chapter we ask, they say, oh, we are going down to a downturn. We don't have enough volunteers. We have so much work going on. We need volunteers. So it's really important that all of us put our efforts in not just recruiting volunteers, helping them to retain. And we should be cooperative such a way that people don't feel burnt out and drop off. So collectively as a team, make a concerted effort to not only just recruit volunteers but also retain them. See that we grow as a community, we support each other as volunteers and help grow this community, because as such this work needs a lot of hands, a lot of people, a lot of minds, and so it would really help to reach out and try to engage people at whatever level they can. I mean, some people may have more time, some people may have less time, but let's try to involve and engage them in such a way that we could tweak our processes, tweak our functioning, so we become a better organization. And in the process, we were thinking, what are the biggest things? I mean, I know we all have to prioritize, and this was we looked at Stephen Covey's methodology of trying to come up with what are the big things that we want to focus, and we call them as rocks. And here the representation that tells us that often we will have so many tasks and so many ideas, but it is the key things that we have to focus on. So it's always good to prioritize what are the key things that we want to work. Those would be the biggest rocks. And then once you fit all your major priorities, then you can always put in your small other activities that you want to do. We'll talk a lot more about this and elaborate this in the nuts and bolts section. But from the key rocks that we want to point out, we start with volunteers. I think without volunteers, we cannot really hold up anything in what we are doing. So once we solve or try to focus on recruiting volunteers, capacity building, and bringing them up to speed to help, then we can go ahead with fundraising and look at projects. And in projects, we have to look at a couple of aspects. It's not just as soon as we have funds, we have to go run and take up a project and support it. We actually have to evaluate how good that project, what is the need, is the need real? Teaming up with is a genuine partner and is actually thinking through well, and we can share our experience, our partners' experiences. We are a 25-year-old organization, so we should share some of our learnings with them, try to help them network with our existing partners, and think through the process of how we are picking up those projects. That's one aspect of it. The other key aspect of it is the life cycle, like how accountable we are when we get a proposal and when we commit to our NGO partner that we are going to help and work with them on this project. Are we doing our things very timely? I mean, oftentimes we hear, oh, our volunteers did not show up for the CSH. A presentation. So we've seen that even for long-term partners, especially our long-term partners, have an expectation that a 25-year-old organization, and if they have been working with them for a few years and it's the same project, they would like some timely responses from AID as an organization and our volunteers. But oftentimes we've seen that it takes almost like 6 months, in some cases 3 months. So it's a long drawn out process, and our partners really feel bad about it, that because they see us as partners and they don't tell us upfront on our face that, hey, this is really affecting us. But so we have to realize that aspect and collaboratively work such a way that we are meeting and not dragging out or delaying things. So in that case, that's why we put as a project life cycling as one of the key things that this year all of us collectively should focus on. And for that, not just the chapter level, the projects team needs volunteers, the treasury team needs volunteers. So please step up. I mean, even if it is half an hour a week or an hour a week or even an hour a month, with the AID-wide teams, it would really make a difference. Similarly, the next one is the legal and treasury. As I said, if we don't keep our documentation, our registrations, our tax filings and audits done in a timely manner, most often we stand to lose. And if the states and everybody starts implementing the rules, we won't be in good standing in most of the states. So we all have to pay attention to that we bring forward and put our efforts in getting those things done. And then, like, I mean, all of these might be sounding a little abstract because I'm just stating some things that we should do this and we should do that. But what are some of the achievable goals? Like, say, for example, for volunteers, from our recent elections, the election commissioners, the volunteers, they have reached out to every chapter, active voter list, like active volunteer list. So we figured the last 4 or 5 years, from the tallying up, it comes to between 450 to 480 volunteers is what most of the chapters have gotten back to the election team. But the number of people who have voted is barely 100, 110, 120 people. So it's only about 25%, like us volunteers who are continuously talking about community empowerment, talking about advocacy and all. If we don't participate in our own internal elections and selection processes, it does not add value to that. So it's really key that we all actively participate. And so let's all take up a challenge that we are right now at 450. By next year, can we push our number to about 550 volunteers? So get a couple more chapters activated, get your list grow, like your volunteer team maybe at 6 or 8 right now. can you try to add at least 4 or 5 volunteers within the next year? So collectively, can we get to 500 plus volunteers who are actively contributing is one goal we would like to see. Fundraising, as I said, our unrestricted fundraising is hovering about 1.2 to 1.3 million. Can we all put in some concerted effort and push it to 2 million? Right? I mean, we have grown, like we are 25 plus years. If we can go make a concerted effort, we should be able to get at least 2 million unrestricted donations, and then a million or million and a half in restricted donations. That way we can raise about 4 to 5 million. Similarly, for projects, especially for the project's life cycle, each chapter should commit that if they take up a project, they should finish the review and try to get the CRF filed and the funds disbursed in a 6 to 8 week cycle. Like 2 months should be your maximum time frame. That you should be able to take up the review and finish it and get the funds disbursed. And for legal and treasury, I would like to say that we are making some progress, but next year I would like to report at the next GBM that we have already filed the taxes with a completed audit by May 15th. So before our conference, we should be able to file that. And for that, I think we cannot do it alone. The treasury team cannot do it alone, or the project team. All the chapters, all the volunteers have to contribute. So those were our big rocks, and we will discuss furthermore in the nuts and bolts session. And here are some aspirational, like what we've thought so far was mostly, yes.
See, I think maybe it also be a good idea. Here you are, like you're saying, goals for the volunteers here, I mean, chapters here to increase the number of volunteers, right? Maybe it's a good idea to also hear from the EB members or from you what kind of time, like the EB has. Because one of the things that happened, as you know, is the new website, is that we have been getting a lot of volunteer requests. Even today, I got a request from Satish here. We have got 2 new chapters through this volunteer, Red for Undergrad chapters platform. One Mustafa found one in Texas, and Chase found one in Berkeley. But one of the roadblocks that the EB members are not responsive, probably because they are overloaded with time. When new chapter starts, then the EB member needs to send them things or help them, with their various roles, right? And that's where there isn't much response. So similarly, I mean, you pointed out, for example, that in the election only 450 volunteers voted. But actually, about 450 volunteers names were given, out of it only 125 voted.
Yes.
Right? But actually, the problem starts much earlier, in the sense that the new volunteer request that we send to chapters. Chapters may not even have a working list, like I'm sure chapters like Bay Area and Boston probably have. But several chapters, maybe even DC Metro, may not have a working list where they actually add new volunteers to their list to inform them to the CSH, join them on the CVC list, invite them unnecessarily to the next CSH when somebody joins. That whole process, I think, is broken in many chapters. And to fix that, we would need EB or somebody to take an active interest in doing that. Otherwise, new volunteer requests, like right now we are getting a new volunteer request at the rate of 1 per day with the new website, about half from India and half from the US, right? But just like DC Metro has retained some, Dallas, I was talking to Srinath, some new volunteers who came to the Dallas chapter have become their regular members, and so on, right? So, I think what we should also hear is how much time do EB members have on these big rocks? How are they going to be helpful? When volunteers ping them, how will they, identify, commit their time to these things? I mean, just saying volunteers is a big problem is not the issue, right? The issue is, okay, having recognized that new volunteers are needed, like, do we have time to engage them? Because as some EB members say, even to engage new volunteers, so how do you solve that?
Yeah, I mean, those are awesome points, and I think we can work on those. I think the EB would elaborate more in the nuts and bolts, like how they are looking for. one thing that I personally feel is easy to right away allocate time to a new volunteer, because not knowing where they're coming from and what it is, I think going through the chapters as you've been introducing them to various chapters is working. Especially I know with the RTP chapter, one volunteer worked out, the others did not work out, right? But what helped me was I didn't have to put time. We had a team. So I think a lot of chapters, if we go through the chapters, I'm going to take.
So the chapter coordinators will do. We have a role.
Yeah.
For
So
example, chapter it takes a very certain chapter requires banners, right, for the staging. To respond to this request. So they write back saying they are not getting response from EB members. And similarly, some of the bottlenecks that that we identify when we work on this problem, right? EB members are in a good position to solve it. Like when I'm saying that many volunteers to their chapter CSH list or sending them CSH information. By that I mean not only the volunteers coming from the website, even if any volunteers are joining there, their system to do that is broken, right? So who is going to identify and help them fix? It has to be somebody, a team in the EB does that, right?
yeah, so we have the chapter volunteer coordination team that's kind of help working with chapters in doing that capacity building. But I think we can definitely discuss that. I mean, there are ways we can explore how to solve that, especially the nuts and bolts. We'll be building on that. And we also have a volunteer retention and recruitment session this afternoon, where we'll more focus on more of those issues and try to figure out what would be a good mechanism to deal with. So what we presented in the big rocks were some of the more tactical things, but some of the other aspirational goals as an organization that we have been discussing, and some chapters have also started making efforts on this, is increasing our diversity, and this has been brought up several times in various forums that we really need to work on this. And so this is one of our aspirational goals. So hopefully we all will collectively brainstorm and see how we can achieve that. Likewise, even working with our long-term partners in the field in India, a lot of folks want to have more collaborative efforts and aid within our experience of working with various partners and our 20+ years history of engaging at grassroots. We'd also like to see how we can replicate some of our successes, how we can build a program mode approach to solving some problems on some of the issues, where we can involve multiple partners in multiple states. Like say, if we have a very successful agricultural program initiative that Kiran and team are leading, we have Revati and team working on. Likewise, we have the Sundarbans effort. So how we can draw some things on and build on this to present this as AIDS agriculture initiatives where we can scale up. And that is the value that some of our donors also see that, and likewise our partners also want to be connected. Similarly, on education front, a lot of our partners want to work with the Eureka team in adopting some of their methodology and trying to replicate their success. So I think we are at that stage where with our knowledge and working with our successful partners, long-term partners, we can start thinking of building more programmatic mode where we will have multiple partners in multiple states and try to understand these problems. Of course, all these, there will be local dynamics involved, but we could still work together on getting some concerted efforts going on, at least in some areas where we have good partners and good team to work on. Similarly, we definitely need to increase our presence in some of the underrepresented states. We've been seeing year after year, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, some of these states, we have a lot more projects ongoing, whereas in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, or the Northeast, We barely have any collaborations going or long-term collaborations going. We need to reach out because those are some of the much more deprived areas where we would like to see some engagement going there. So those are some of the three things that we felt that some things that we collectively as an organization can try to work over the next year. And I know we've had discussions on increasing diversity last conference, and this conference also will have a session on it. So so let's see. Hopefully, we can come up with ways in addressing some of these issues. Then, so finally, I think it's time for Q&A. We would like to have our conversations. Next slide. Go to the.
You want to go to the questions or?
Go to one of the questions and then come back to this slide. Did we finish all the questions? Okay. What will we ask? That's not the thing. Can we compare chapters on some metric other than money? Okay. We'd like to. Okay.